Welcome to Optum Live. Happy Thursday, everybody. Can't believe it's almost Memorial Day. Gosh, school year is almost, summer's a great time to do those things that can help high school students prepare for college, or visit schools, start working on that personal statement, or even investigate different career paths. And to assist with direction, we like to talk with professionals doing the work students think they might like to pursue. So we're very lucky to have a special guest with us today, because nursing is always at the top of the list. And Lori Robertson is here with us today. Lori, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
So Lori is the vice president of, and if I mispronounce this, you can correct me, Perio-Operative Services at Mercy Medical Center in Baltimore. She's a registered nurse with a BSN and also holds an MBA, which is, I find interesting. We'll talk more about that a little later. First, what is it that you do in your current job?
In my current job, I have responsibility for 30 operating rooms, 5 GI suites, central sterile supply, all the support that kind of goes around the daily operations of running ORs, about 300 staff, and we do about 15,000 procedures here at Mercy annually.
Yeah. So I think I just answered my question, is how the MBA plays into your current job. So interesting. So I always like to find out how our guests got to where they are in their career. So what was your journey like? Did you always know you wanted to be a nurse?
No, I actually thought I was going to be an accountant when I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
And, in my senior year of high school, I had the opportunity to do some dual enrollment classes and go to a local college my senior year of high school. And I took accounting. One class cured me, because I was sure that I wasn't going to be meant for a cubicle. Definitely an operations person. I like to be on the run. I also like to kind of change up what I'm doing throughout my career. I don't necessarily want to do the same thing for 20 years. So nursing has really provided me with a great chance to see a lot of different things.
Yeah. So there are different paths that one can take if they're interested in nursing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I started my path in an associate degree program in Eastern Pennsylvania. There's 3 key ways. You can go associate degree to get an RN. You can go, there's still, I think, a few nursing schools that are hospital-based across the nation, and they're usually about a 3-year program, but have much more clinical intensity through their training. And then there are BSN programs, which is what is advocated by the think tanks that kind of do all the evidence-based research around nursing. There are white papers that show that bachelor's prepared nurses help avoid complications for patients in a variety of settings. I highly advocate for that to be an eventual goal for people, but the associate degree is a great bridge to get there. It gets you practicing a lot sooner.
So the associate degree creates what we call a licensed practical nurse?
No, actually, it is an RN. It's a registered nurse.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
All 3 of these programs get you to be a registered nurse. But then from the registered nurse, you take what is called a bridge program, and you get an RN to BSN.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Which you can do self-paced, and a lot of employers actually pay for you to go back and get your bachelor's.
Okay, so I'm getting educated here. So what is an LPN then versus an RN?
LPNs are a little bit more technical. They do less patient assessment, but they're critical in the profession because they can do all of the procedural-based pieces of patient care. They're also highly utilized in settings that maybe don't need as many nurses. Long-term care facilities, for example, are a great place to utilize LPNs, where you only need 1 RN over the whole building. It kind of takes some of the expense out, where we're trying to have nurses practice to the maximum of their license.
Mm-hmm.
The licensed practical nurse brings a lot to the table there.
So the educational requirement for an LPN versus an RN?
It's slightly less. The programs are often 15 or 18 months in length.
Okay.
An RN can be done in 2 years, but it's a very learning intense. There's a lot of prerequisites before you do the 2 years. And what I find is you've got to be like sharp on your math, sharp on your terminology, and sharp on your pharmaceuticals going into those programs, because there's a lot of pass or fail things in that first semester that are tough to get through.
Ah, okay. Very interesting. Thank you for that insight. Hey, so what is, I mean, your first year nurse, first job, what would that look like? I mean, is there a lot of bedpans involved or what?
It really is very different based on whatever setting that you choose. I think no matter where you go, it's a fire hose of learning and change and really just getting to know your specialty that you've chosen. For me, I came out of nursing school and I moved to Baltimore and I did neurotrauma step down at Shock Trauma. And so we had 4 patients. So it's kind of like a higher acuity med-surg unit. But it gave me great experience, like fentanyl dressing changes and prepping patients for bariatric or for the hyperbaric chamber medicine for wounds treatments. And it we had a lot of vented patients periodically, and it was a lot of learning in a lot of different areas. And I think that is not unique to my pathway, but anywhere they go. In the past 2 years have even heightened that issue because nursing students aren't getting the clinical exposure that they got in previous programs because of the COVID restrictions, honestly.
Are you seeing a lot of nurses coming out of the military experience?
We do not get many here. I have worked with some that in my career, but no, I can't say that we see none.
That's I just thought that might be someone might consider that as a way to get their get experience and perhaps get help paying for that education as well. So I just wondered what your experience was with that. So great. Okay, so this is maybe a hard question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you think is the most important characteristic that an individual needs to be a nurse?
It's funny because we actually talk about that in our nursing leadership meetings. I think my opinion is grit. Grit being something that you just have the determination to conquer adversity and to say, okay, I may not achieve something my first time, my second time, but my third or fourth time, and I'm going to stick with it until I achieve it.
Yeah.
A really good friend who was a single young mom and just always wanted to be a nurse. And it took her 4 times before she finally achieved her goal. And it wasn't, she had 3 kids along the way, but, she got there, and her license says the same thing that anybody else's license says. So just having that determination will eventually get you to achieve your goal.
Yeah, I to get there. Yeah, certainly. But I think too, your answer, I think, is interesting because I think COVID has proven to us that characteristic is hugely important in the hospital as well with what the medical profession has been through COVID. Before that, we might have said compassion or something like that, but certainly that grit is so much at the top of the list now. Very nice. So what do you think the biggest drawback is and the most positive thing is about being a nurse?
So probably would have had a different answer to the drawback a lot of years ago, but now it's definitely the risk factors that you put yourself in front of on a daily basis. And that's no matter where you are. I'm in nursing leadership now, but I still practice. I'm going to be running charge tonight from 6 to 9. So, and at any time, COVID patients can run through the door, and those are handled under airborne isolation. And so I think that where you always used to have to practice universal protocols and precautions for our patients because you had bloodborne pathogens and such, now we've definitely taken it up a notch with how we're living in the new COVID world. The plus, absolutely, the flexibility and versatility that it gives you as an individual. You can work for an employer and grow with that single employer and do many different things. You can grow into leadership. You can grow into different specialties. You can pursue clinical ladders. You can teach. There's so many things, and you don't even have to change your employer, and I love that.
So we get our BSN, and we're working. What would be the motivation to take the next step and maybe specialize? And what does that look like?
So there's usually forks in the road. You can either specialize and stay at the bedside, which is something that we highly encourage. I have a lot of master's prepared nurses that work at the bedside, and they bring the latest, best evidence-based practice to their patients. So you can be involved in research. You can be involved in changing practice as new evidence is presented in the field. You can research your own new evidence. Or if you want to grow in a business sense, you follow a track similar to what I did. And I went back and I pursued business and I got my MBA. I'm also a fellow for the American College of Healthcare Executives. And that gives me a great network of other executives that may not have come from a clinical background. And I think when you have a good blend of those people at the executive table of an organization, it really keeps the patient at the forefront. And, people just don't forget why we're here.
But it really gives you an opportunity to move in any number of directions. You don't have to move up the ladder to management as you did. If your thing is patient care, you can stay there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And most organizations have some sort of a clinical ladder. Most of them financially incentivize you to grow within that clinical ladder. And those things are tied to getting certification within your specialty. I truly believe everyone should be a lifelong learner. I've tried to add something to my resume every 2 years, kind of like clockwork throughout my career, whether it be a new certification or I'm going to publish, or I'm going to do something like this and share with the next generation. Just something.
Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Well, Lori, thanks so much for spending time with us today. I really appreciate it. And folks, if you want to get more information or help with your direction and what might you be thinking about in terms of college, reach out to us, optomedscenter.com, or you can call our office, 804-417-4807. With that, I'm going to wish everybody a great weekend. And Lori, again, thanks for being with us. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Tom.